I think the word crazy can mean a bunch of different things. I think it's really in the tone of how you say it, because you might be talking about something kind of funny and be like, oh, that's just so crazy. But if somebody comes straight up to you and tells you, you're crazy, I think that's kind of the insult. I think a lot of words can just be kind of changed with the intent behind the word. So I wouldn't say crazy is really the most offensive word. I think it's just really how you use the word crazy. If someone was to call me crazy in a mean way, I think I would be really offended. But I think people do call me crazy in a funny way because I just act silly sometimes, and I'm okay with that. Oh, I have definitely thought that, well, maybe I'm crazy. I mean, the first time I ever brought myself willingly to a therapist, I pretty much said, he's like, why'd you come in here? And I'm like, I said legit, I think I'm going crazy. So yeah, I definitely thought I've been crazy in the past, definitely, yes. Well, my experience with crazy, I think if I don't take my medication, I would definitely fall under the definition of, totally crazy. But I would say that once I take my medication and I'm all, fine, that I wouldn't be under that definition of what people say crazy really kind of is. I mean, walking around New York City, you see a lot of people, homeless and whatnot with mental illnesses that you would say, oh, that person is crazy, but they don't understand that if that person doesn't have the resources or the support system like I have, which would help them, and then you would not associate them with crazy. And what people don't understand, that in New York City, 1 in 5 people have a mental health issue. So really, so many people would be considered crazy if they didn't have their doctor or their family or their friends or any of their support system to make them not be crazy. So really, it's really just a word that kind of turned into, a word meaning people that are just unfortunate and don't have the support system. So my experience of the word crazy is really just meaning unfortunate people that don't have a support system like I do, because I could be considered that kind of person if I didn't have mine. If somebody was in my shoes for one day, I think they would be very, very confused. I think they wouldn't really know what reality really is. They'd be really confused. There'd be a lot of thoughts going around in their head, and they wouldn't really know which thought was the correct thought. So I'm not sure anyone would really enjoy that a lot, honestly. Good luck. Well, having schizophrenia does mean that I do have to live my life differently. I take a lot of medication, but as long as I take my medication, I'm pretty okay. But just because you take medication doesn't mean your life is automatically going to be better. You can take all kinds of medication, any kind of antidepressant, but if you sit in your apartment all day and just watch TV, you're really not going to be happy. So it's more than just a change in your life of just taking meds. I know there's a doctor, but then you also have to have a support system of some kind. And if it wasn't for my support system, my friends, they also help me live my life. But I live my life differently just by, taking meds. I own my own business because I couldn't work for other people, and I had I had different dreams for myself that I had to change because of having schizophrenia. But I think what I've had to change has only, helped me for the best. It's unfortunate, but I try to live the best life that I really can have, and with everything that I have. My daily struggles are, sometimes with confidence or with paranoia and just kind of getting started throughout my day, because you kind of wake up and you don't have your meds in your system, and I'll kind of pace back and forth around my living room until somebody's like, take your meds, take your meds, take your meds, and I'm like, okay, fine. And then as soon as I do, about 10 minutes later or 20 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I can complete my day now. But sometimes if I don't have somebody yelling at me to take my meds in the morning, it'll be 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm still not getting anything accomplished and just pacing around my apartment, talking to myself in any way that I can, or having delusions and everything like that. But you know how it is. It just is what it is, What am I afraid of? I'm afraid of ever going back to the psych ward, so I try my hardest to never do that. So I tried to stick to my med regimen. I made a promise at the Western Wall in Israel that I would never, ever, ever hurt myself ever again. And I am sticking to that, and I will never hurt myself ever again, which will hopefully keep me out of the psych ward forever. Don't ever want to go back there again. That's the scariest place in the world. My hobbies, I love to do art. I've been doing art my whole life. I really just have a plain kind of a sketchbook where I took magic markers and I drew these really detailed drawings, really to just deal with my anxiety that I have sometimes. And then I take the drawings, I bring them into the computer, I bring them into Photoshop, and I just make really awesome art. And what's amazing about it is that people have started to buy my art. And then with that, I started putting it on leggings, and people are buying the leggings, and it's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's great to make art, but then to have people actually buy your art is so cool. Like, I can't believe people like my art so much that they want to buy it. Like, that's just the most amazing thing ever. It's just awesome. I love it so much. And like, art is just my biggest hobby because it makes me so happy. I really love it. Coming here today, I was with my friend, and I'm looking on the train to see what the stops are, and I don't get on the train, but my friend does. And then I see her in the window, and I see me outside the window, and she's like, you got on the wrong train. What are you doing? Plus, you have my purse, and all I have is my phone. What are you doing? I'm trying to call her, and we're like, what did you do? I go, just get off at the next stop. I'll meet you. Okay, meet her at the next stop. And we found each other. Those New York City subway systems get a little confusing sometimes. Is that even funny? I don't even know. I think my social life is pretty okay. I have a lot of friends that I hang out with sometimes. I think I'm getting lazy and not going out anymore, but I mean, I would like to be more social and go out more, but I think I'm really entering that lazy stage. But I have people come over, we have fun at my apartment, and everybody, you know, chilling and everything. But maybe I need to like go out, have more fun, who knows, you know? Everybody could always have more fun. Whatever keeps you happy, do it up. I think what people need to learn about schizophrenia is that it's really a process, and it's really something you have to understand and really learn about to know what you're going through. There's all different kinds of symptoms, you know, positive, negative, cognitive, and understanding about, you know, auditory hallucinations, visual hallucinations, and, you know, cognitive skills, delusions. If you don't really understand what all of those are, you're going to be very confused. So if you're a caretaker or anything like that, you need to understand what's going on there, and you have to learn to be patient. And once a person can try to, you know, understand what's going on and realize like what a delusion is, what the paranoia is, what everything like that, then you can try to get help. For years, I was so paranoid, but I didn't know I was paranoid. I had always thought that my mom was trying to hurt me instead of help me. She brought me to many therapists, but I always thought that they were trying to hurt me. I thought they were trying to get my secrets, and I didn't want anyone to know my secrets because they were my secrets in my head. And there was a voice in my head always saying, don't talk to these people. They're trying to get into your head. They want to know all your secrets. They want to know everything. Don't let them. Don't let them. Just don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. And I always thought my mom was trying to hurt me. And then I go to college and I think that I'm free of my mother and I'm fine now. And it was good for a month. And then all of a sudden, my best friend, my roommate, I think she's trying to hurt me, and she's conspiring against me, and she's trying to hurt me. And then it's kind of like when I realized, oh my goodness, it's me, you know? I'm paranoid. I'm the one who has the issue, and my mom was right the entire time. And that's when I realized, you know, I have the problem and I need to go see a therapist. So it's really just you have to learn what the symptoms are so you know when you're having an episode of some kind. So, you know, you have to, it's hard to realize you have paranoia, but when you do, then you can recognize it. So I like to say sometimes that being diagnosed with schizophrenia was the best thing that ever happened to me, because then I was treated for the right thing so I could get better. And I know that sounds weird, that it was the best thing that ever happened to me, but it really, really, really was. Because being diagnosed for the wrong thing means you get the wrong treatment. Getting diagnosed for the right thing means you get the correct treatment, which isn't always the easiest process. You have to try a lot of different medications or a lot of different therapy, but your life will get better. As long as you work on it and have a good doctor and a good support team, everything gets better. Oh yeah, the Jew jokes all the time. Yeah, always Jew jokes all the time. Things that people say offensive to me when I say it. I think I just don't like when people make jokes about like my big hair. When people make jokes about I can joke about my big hair, but when other people call my hair frizzy, it's not cool. Not cool at all. Don't make jokes about my hair. When I was younger, I would have loved to learn about more mental illness in high school. I mean, in high school, I was taught depression is when you're sad for 2 weeks or longer. What does that mean? And what is sadness? And what is depression? I was so depressed in high school that I didn't know that my sadness was depression. What does 2 weeks mean? It makes no sense to me. That measurement doesn't describe actual depression, though. What's the difference between depression and sadness? You can grieve somebody for 2 weeks. Does that mean you're depressed? It just made no sense. And when we learned about schizophrenia, it was all about paranoia and hearing a negative voice in your head. And what is it? And we just glazed over it because it seemed too serious and none of us could have possibly had it or anything like that. And I guess talking about my clothing line, I have a clothing line called Schizophrenic NYC. I saw these shirts that say, "Don't be paranoid, you look great." I have one that says, "It's not a delusion, you are incredible." And I have a bunch of them that have the Rorschach test on them with a whole twist up kind of a thing. The idea is when you get a person with schizophrenia to look at the plain black Rorschach test, they see it from a different perspective. But I've switched up the patterns and the colors, so now everyone's forced to look at it through a different perspective, getting people to think differently, starting a discussion, because only through discussion can you try to reduce or end stigma.